Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more.
All right, Kate, Linda Clarke said, feeling satisfied with the progress of the plan she'd convinced her husband to agree to. Linda continued, "Tomorrow is on me. I've scheduled a full makeover for you at Geshia's, hair, nails, waxing, and makeup. While they pamper you, I'll stock your kitchen with supplies for the week, and my sister will bring a friend to help move your things and tidy up the house. Are you following?" Linda asked. The woman across from her nodded in agreement. How could she object to Linda's offer, especially with everything else involved in the plan, which would culminate with the final surgeries to help her feel whole? After that, you'll be fully responsible for everything: rent, car, utilities, food, clothing, and any other expenses. Initially, there will be no communication between us beyond you paying your rent. You'll be just another new neighbor moving into the house next door. I'll be your landlady, and nothing more, at least for now. But, Linda, that's not what we agreed on. They had been married for 8 years. Treating her wife as a complete stranger after so long wasn't going to be easy. That's the offer. Take it or leave it. When you said you wanted to live full-time, 24/7, to decide if you wanted to go all the way, I agreed, but with conditions. I retained the right to modify any conditions up until midnight tomorrow, except for those already in our contract. Linda was correct. Although Kate had agreed to the terms, pretending to be strangers wasn't going to be as simple as it seemed. Feeling transformed by the makeover and her new home, Kate closed and locked the front door. Leaning against it, she took a deep breath and looked around. The smell of fresh paint was present but not overpowering. Satisfied, she walked to the bathroom, closed the door, and adjusted her clothing. She had lost the ability to wear underwear and to use the bathroom as she had before. Linda's first condition had been a chastity belt, and she had refused to negotiate further until that was settled. All her personal care items were neatly arranged in the vanity and medicine cabinet, while a set of mismatched, fresh linens hung on the towel bars. Today marked the end of the first full month she had worn the chastity belt. Throughout this time, her wife had regularly checked the belt to ensure it fit properly and inspected it for any damage, but had never released her. As part of Linda's agreement to Kate's transition to a full woman, Kate had accepted that she would no longer experience male pleasure. The chastity belt guaranteed this, at least until a surgeon would need to intervene. The bathroom revealed the challenge of adapting to her new, long nails. After carefully drying herself and using the hairdryer, Kate made sure every part beneath the steel and rubber was dry. She was aware of the necessity to maintain proper hygiene, knowing that any irritation would not justify unlocking her belt. Linda had made her stance clear, and Kate believed her. To save money, Kate had handled all the cleaning and painting of her new home herself. Her furniture was a mix of old items from their garage and pieces found at flea markets and yard sales. Previously, these items had been stored in the landlady's 2-car garage. The larger bedroom was furnished in a minimalistic style, but everything was clean. Debbie, Linda's sister, had even made up the single bed and set up the mahogany vanity that Kate had crafted in high school wood shop. Kate's things were neatly arranged on it, ready for use. She sat at the vanity to check her makeup and refresh her lips with the new lipstick from the salon makeover, arranging it with her other cosmetics. "It's different," Kate said aloud to her reflection in the lit mirror. "Being a redhead will take some getting used to." This morning, as part of her new identity as the new girl in town, her dark brown hair had been cut into a full bob, straightened, dyed auburn with red highlights, and permed to curl under. She hoped no one in the neighborhood would recognize her now. She smoothed her bangs and stood up. To further her new persona, another friend of Debbie's had swapped Kate's old Tempo for a bright red Camaro parked in the driveway. Kate had purchased the car 2 weeks prior, so it should be a seamless transition. There was little chance anyone would connect the woman now living at 824 Wide River Road with Linda's former husband. Kate opened the drawers of the scratched dresser, finding her lingerie and nighties neatly arranged. She moved to the closet, a surprisingly spacious walk-in that had been added by a previous owner, converting what could have been another small bedroom. This change had also expanded the master bedroom and bathroom. In the other bedroom, Debbie had set up her computer and peripherals on the desk that had been in Linda's house. Everything needed to be connected before it could be used. The only other furniture in the tiny room was a stool for working at the computer. Kate mentally noted to call the phone company and her internet service provider first thing Monday. She'd have to wait for them to get everything set up before she could email her friends or browse the web. The living room was sparse, with only a small, well-worn couch, an end table, and a lamp. The kitchen, modernized years earlier, was bright and airy due to its south-facing location. It was empty of furniture, and the cabinets contained minimal supplies. Kate made a shopping list after checking the food in the cabinets and refrigerator. Though there were enough staples to last a few days, she realized she needed dish detergent, cooking oil, salt, pepper, and mayonnaise, items often forgotten until needed. She started a second list for essentials that would have to wait until her first paycheck arrived in 2 weeks. Linda had promised to stock the kitchen, but Kate found it lacking. The keys to her new car were on the counter. After adding a set to her key ring and ensuring the house was secure, Kate headed outside. She only realized she needed to fill the tank when the gas gauge alerted her. A free fill-up hadn't been included with the purchase. This was Kate's first attempt to drive a stick shift while wearing 5-inch heels. As high-heeled shoes were all she owned and she planned to dress well for work, mastering this skill quickly was crucial. Her first stop was the gas station, where she spent nearly $20. Next, she drove to the strip mall and her favorite supermarket. As she parked, 2 teenagers' catcalls reminded her that miniskirts and high heels on a 5'10" woman would attract attention. Though she didn't seek it, she'd have to adjust to this aspect of her life, especially with her striking looks. Along with the chastity belt, Linda had imposed a strict dress code on her husband. Kate was required to wear one of Linda's corsets, laced down to 22 inches or tighter, to fasten nearly every item in her closet. Pants were strictly forbidden, even for yard work. Shorts were allowed, but they had to end at the tips of her thumbs. Despite her height and heels, Kate's appearance was always acceptable, and her soft, alto voice never drew suspicion. She was confident that public reactions were due to her attractiveness rather than any other reason. Even though she had only bought essential items, sticking to generic brands and avoiding splurges, the checkout total still reduced her wallet by nearly $110. After tucking the remaining $83 into her purse and returning the cart to her car, Kate was less certain that she had enough to last until payday without dipping into her $1,800 in checking. Though she was used to enjoying a nice steak and a shared bottle of wine with Linda on Saturdays, a baked macaroni casserole and a small green salad satisfied her hunger. She substituted plain mayonnaise for her preferred blue cheese dressing. "This is some celebration of my new life," she thought while rinsing the dirty dishes. To conserve detergent, Kate planned to wash them all at once later, as the bottle had cost nearly $1. After setting up her computer station to avoid glare from the sunlight, Kate assembled her computer while listening to her favorite radio station. This occupied most of her first evening in the new home. Kate had set a personal goal of achieving an 18-inch waist by the end of her year-long trial. Mornings were the only times she allowed herself out of the corset, a personal choice rather than a requirement from Linda. She missed her aerobics and gym workouts but found no practical way to wear her leotards over the chastity belt and tights, as the steel and locking mechanisms were too conspicuous and embarrassing. Feeling a bit romantic, Kate pulled on her pink tights, smoothed their seams, and stepped into a black leotard, the standard attire for a ballerina. Preferring heels to flats, she laced up a pair of black dance boots with 3-inch heels. The taps of the boots on the hardwood floor delighted her as she skipped to the stereo to insert her favorite dancer-size CD. She danced and exercised until the CD ended, drenched in sweat, satisfied with a good workout. Since she began corseting and even more so with the chastity belt, Kate enjoyed her long, hot showers. Despite her desire for a longer soak, she cut it short to save on electricity. Clean from head to toe, drying thoroughly took time, especially under the steel covering on her inner thighs, but her shorter hair now dried faster. 2 hours after getting out of bed, Kate was ready for the day. With a breakfast of 1 over-easy egg, a toasted English muffin with butter and jam, and a glass of orange juice underway, Kate went outside to fetch the Sunday paper. It wasn't there. Naturally, as the new resident, she hadn't arranged for a subscription. She gazed longingly at the plastic-wrapped bundle in Linda's yard before heading back inside. What was a Sunday morning without the Sunday paper? While enjoying her meal, Kate considered her expenses. Perhaps she should switch to toasting bread instead of buying the pricier muffins. The morning slipped by as she rearranged her belongings in the dresser, closet, bathroom, and kitchen. Another shopping list began to take shape. Though excited about her new life, Kate grew increasingly bored as the day dragged on. No Sunday paper, no TV, no email, no internet. Missing these comforts, she decided to take a drive in her new car, familiarizing herself with the route to work the next morning. The drive was less than 10 miles, but she planned to add a few minutes, anticipating heavier traffic than the quiet Sunday afternoon. Up at 5 the next morning, Kate was too excited and nervous to do her morning exercises. This gave her plenty of time for a shower and to lace her pink corset tightly using a sturdy hook installed next to the mirrored closet door. She paired it with a white bra, a satin full slip, and sheer stockings, as pantyhose were impractical with her stainless steel panties. Kate meticulously applied her makeup, mindful of the fluorescent office lighting. Despite contemplating her outfit all weekend, she made her final choice just before dressing. A long-sleeved white cotton blouse and a black linen look suit seemed the most suitable. Polished black pumps, a matching shoulder bag, and a black necktie completed the look. Simple hoop earrings, a silver watch, and a sterling ring finished her ensemble. Not yet accustomed to driving a manual transmission in 5-inch heels, Kate drove cautiously to the office, arriving with 7 minutes to spare. Her long legs caught the attention of the 3 men who had just exited their van as she got out. While she wasn't interested in men, interacting with them as an attractive woman was something she would need to handle throughout her life. "Good morning," greeted a trim, dark-haired man as they approached. "Hi," she replied with a smile. "Nice day." "It is." "Looking for Carter?" he asked, referring to the company. "Not really. I know where it is. Thanks." Kate headed toward the entrance. Her heels and practiced stride forced her to walk slowly and take small steps. The men reached the door first, but the one who had spoken held it open for her with a smile as she climbed the steps. "You're early for an appointment," Ryan Stoller remarked with a smile. "Most of the bosses don't arrive for another 20 or 30 minutes. "Thanks, but I actually work here." "It's my first day," Kate replied. "Great." Ryan's smile widened. "I'm Ryan Stoller from IT. If you have any system issues, give me a call at extension 4711. "Kate Clarke," she introduced herself. "Nice to meet you, Kate." Ryan continued chatting even as they rode the elevator. "Are you from around here?" "North Jersey," Kate answered. Although men weren't part of her future plans, she knew she had to interact with them, and rudeness wasn't an option. "A small town called Mornville, probably no one's heard of it. My family moved away when I was 14. When the elevator doors opened on the 3rd floor, Ryan stepped aside to let her out. "Have a great day. I'll try to catch up with you later, Kate." The other 2 men also wished her luck as she walked toward her new workspace. Kate found Carla Bertram in her cubicle, organizing files. Carla, her new supervisor, was a 36-year-old brunette who had seemed all business during the interview. "Good morning, Mrs. Bertram." "Hi, Kate. Welcome aboard," Carla said with a reassuring smile that eased some of Kate's nerves. "I'll be with you shortly." Once she finished, Carla turned to give Kate a thorough look. "I like your new hairstyle, it's cute. Let me show you to your station and introduce you to some of the team." Carla led Kate through a row of 6 cubicles and into a room with 30 computer stations arranged in 5 rows of 6. Most of the stations were occupied by women, with only 2 men present, all busy typing away. "Here we are," Carla said, stopping in the middle of the first row. "This will be your station." Kate settled into the chair. "Christine," Carla addressed the woman to Kate's right. Though older, Christine was impeccably made up. "This is Kate Clarke, who just started today." They exchanged polite greetings. "I'd like you to show Kate the ropes and help her as needed, Christine." "Of course, my pleasure, Mrs. Bertram," Christine said, her long lashes fluttering as she smiled at Kate. Seeing Kate's curiosity, Christine added, "I'll answer the question everyone wants to ask but is too polite to." Kate wondered what the question might be. "I was born with no hair, none at all, not even eyelashes." Christine displayed her long, red-tipped nails. "My real nails didn't develop normally either. Without my makeup, you'd probably think I'm pretty plain. As a young girl, I learned makeup and even studied for a beautician's license. Since I didn't have any hair myself, I couldn't stand running my fingers through someone else's full head of hair," Christine said with a laugh. "I graduated but never took the test. I think I would have ended up shaving everyone bald." Kate laughed along as the humorous image came to mind. "I doubt they'd appreciate that much," she said. "Me neither," Christine replied, turning on the monitor in front of Kate. "These are just terminals connected to the mainframe in the basement. We have only the necessary programs and email. Personnel should have informed you, but they monitor our emails. You can access your personal stuff, but keep it brief and let your boyfriend know." They did mention it. "Thanks for the reminder, Chris," Kate said. "Christine, please," she corrected, without emotion. "Sorry, I'll remember, Christine," Kate promised. The job involved entering mostly handwritten data from policyholders and agents on claim forms, including additional supporting information like receipts. Accuracy was crucial, and Christine stressed that it took precedence over speed. While the task seemed straightforward in theory, the often illegible handwriting of many claimants made it much more challenging. "How's it going, Kate?" Christine asked around 9. "Not too bad. I think I'm getting the hang of it now. It's break time. Save your work on the terminal, and I'll show you around." Christine had already risen from her chair. Satisfied with her first day, Kate was glad it was over. She stopped at Burger King on the way home for a cheeseburger and onion rings, as cooking wasn't on her relaxation agenda for the day. Overall, it had been a rewarding and exciting day. After changing out of her suit and hanging it carefully, Kate slipped into a comfortable turtleneck and a loose black skirt. She was uncomfortable from the marks left by her belt. Sitting in one place for the longest stretch had made it hard to find a comfortable position, and her attempts to adjust were futile. The issue wasn't chafing between her thighs but redness and soreness around the backstrap where it extended to her rectum, designed for easier toilet use with minimal mess. This aspect of the belt had been troublesome since Linda first fitted it, and today was the worst. Kate knew her wife was completely serious about keeping it locked until her operation. By morning, the irritation had eased. Tuesday began in a rush and quickly escalated. "Kate, come here, please," Carla called as Kate entered the office. "There's been an accident. Christine's in the hospital." "Oh, is she badly hurt, Mrs. Bertram?" Kate asked. "I'm not sure, but I don't have time to find out. I need to leave immediately for a crisis at the Atlanta office and will be gone for at least a few days. I know you haven't had much training, but I'm relying on you to do your best," Carla said, sounding uncertain as she packed files into her attaché case. "Who should I go to for help?" Kate asked. "I'm taking half the team with me. Just do your best," Carla replied, glancing at her watch and grabbing her purse after closing the case. "I really need to go. My manager is Bill Mathis at extension 4286, but try not to be a bother," Carla said, wrapping up her instructions. She hurried out to catch her ride to the airport before Kate could ask any more questions. The first few hours went smoothly. Kate entered the claim data as she had the day before until her system froze and a dialog box appeared with access denied as she attempted to save a particularly long and difficult claim. Not knowing what else to do, she approached a woman at the end of the row behind her. "It means you're not authorized to access that part of the system," the woman said after Kate explained her issue. "I'm Rose Williams. What should I do?" Kate asked, feeling at a loss. "You need to speak to your supervisor." "There's nothing I can do," Rose said dismissively, returning to her own work. Before contacting her manager, Kate recalled the man she had spoken to the previous morning and dialed the extension he had given her. "Hello, Mr. Stoller, this is Kate Clarke. We met yesterday," she said. "Of course, I remember you, Red. What took you so long to call?" Ryan replied, clearly flirting. Ignoring his comment, Kate explained her issue. "Let me check," Ryan said, pausing as he reviewed her file. "You don't have any clearance entered." "What does that mean?" she asked, puzzled. "I didn't have trouble yesterday." "It means your supervisor hasn't submitted your clearance requests yet. The system finally caught it," Ryan explained. "But I've been working since yesterday," Kate reiterated. "Just remind your supervisor," Ryan said, cutting her off. Kate had already said thank you and hung up before Ryan could suggest lunch. Gathering her courage, Kate approached her manager's office. "Excuse me, Mr. Mathis," she said, knocking on the open door. "Yes." Bill replied with a smile, clearly appreciative of the attractive redhead in the dark green suit. Despite her nerves, Kate introduced herself and explained the problem. Bill handed her a green slip of paper with some scribbled notes. "Take this to IT and have them update your access. If you encounter any other issues while Carla's away, come see me. And even if you don't have problems, come see me," he added with a grin, his gaze lingering below her face. Trying to hide her nervousness, Kate didn't ask where IT was located. Instead, she asked a man at the nearest desk near the elevators. "They're on the entire 10th floor," he said, his eyes lingering on her legs and chest. Beth, from the systems access section of IT, was very friendly and promptly resolved Kate's issue. "All set, Kate," she said with a smile. "Thank you, Beth. You seem really uptight. Why is that?" Beth asked. "Well, I kind of feel abandoned. It's only my second day here, my boss is at a branch office, and the woman who's supposed to train me is in the hospital. I was in the same situation when I transferred into this job," Beth said sympathetically. "Just do your best. They can't fault you for that." Still feeling uneasy due to the attention she was attracting from the men on top of her problems, Kate returned to her station and resumed her work. Around noon, she looked up to see Bill Mathis grinning down at her. "I'm heading out for lunch and would like you to join me so we can get to know each other better, Kate." Kate preferred to be alone rather than out with a male, but she realized that rejecting her boss's boss on only her second day might not be the best move. Biting her lip, she saved her work, grabbed her purse, and stood. "I'll freshen up and meet you by the elevators." "Thank you." They walked to a charming cafe a few blocks away. Bill engaged in small talk, which did little to ease Kate's growing apprehension. She managed to relax a bit once they were seated across from each other in a booth. "I'd like you to try to relax, Kate," Bill said. "I'm happily married." He emphasized this by twisting his gold wedding band. "I have a daughter who's about your age." Kate could believe that. Her manager looked old enough. Bill kept the conversation light, and Kate found herself smiling at some of his jokes. However, over coffee and tea, he became serious. "The situation at our Atlanta office is much worse than initially thought," he said, keeping her attention. "Carla and the others might be gone for several weeks, and we're looking for additional help." Kate sensed where this was heading. With her chastity belt and all her ID papers and credit cards still in her legal name, she knew avoiding her secret being discovered was nearly impossible. "Did I say something wrong, Kate? You look like you've seen a ghost." I can't. I can't fly to Atlanta or anywhere, sir," she stammered. Bill reached out to place his hand over hers in an attempt to comfort her. Kate jerked her hand away as if it had been burned, and Bill stared at her in surprise. "No, I understand. I wasn't going to ask you to," Bill said. Kate stared at him in disbelief. "You weren't. You've only been here 2 days, not even 2 full days. Not that you wouldn't do a great job, but that wasn't my intention." "You weren't," she repeated, still uncertain. "We're going to be extremely short-staffed in the department for a while." "I know you'll do your best, Kate," he said with a reassuring smile. "Yes, sir. I'll do my best." Despite the stress, the next few days passed quickly. By the end of Friday, Kate was eager to go home, but that wasn't to be. "Hi. Shut down and move it, girl." "Huh." Kate looked up from her screen to see Beth, Ryan, and another girl standing nearby. "We're heading to the pub," Beth said. No thanks," Kate replied, closing her monitor. "This is Lily. She just started today," Ryan said, wrapping an arm around the petite Oriental woman. "Nice to meet you, Kate," Lily said with a smile. Beth rolled Kate away from her desk, grabbed her purse, and handed it to her. "I really need to go home," Kate protested, but the three of them managed to convince her otherwise. As they entered the packed bar, there were a few whistles from the crowd. The guys turned to check out the trio of new arrivals, the redhead, the blonde, and the black-haired woman. After wearing her 5-inch heels all week, Kate managed them better than on Monday. Her feet didn't hurt too much, but she knew they'd never get a stool or a table. "Kate, what are you drinking?" Ryan asked. "Bud, draft," she replied. Ryan asking the other girls reassured her about the money he was buying the first round. Kate felt safer with her colleagues around than if she were alone with him. Nothing too bad would happen during happy hour, she told herself. "Hi, Red," a guy near her clinked his mug against Kate's when it arrived. Given the way the guys at the office had been looking at her all week, Kate had accepted that she'd be hit on eventually. She'd already been approached 10 times. "Hi, Kate," she said, managing a small smile. "Tom Reed," he introduced himself. "Seen you around. Just started at Carter." "Monday," Kate confirmed. "What do you do?" Tom asked. "Claims clerk." He responded with an R, though it didn't really clarify anything for her. "I've been here 5 years. I'm one of the MTUs." "What's an MTU?" Kate sipped her drink. "Maintenance Technical Unit," he chuckled. "I'm one of the computer hardware specialists. We joke about being just parts of the machine, caged in the basement." His eyes twinkled with amusement. "Right, I've heard you're quite the troublemakers," Kate teased. "I'm surprised they let you out at night. Pays well. Unless something's broken, we have plenty of free time to do our own thing." "And what's yours?" Admiring very pretty redheads, he replied with a smile. "Want to leave this place and have dinner? I know a great steakhouse upriver." The offer of a free steak dinner was tempting. Tired of pasta and rice, Kate couldn't resist. 5 minutes later, Kate was following Tom's BMW across town. Although he had offered to drive her, she preferred to keep her car nearby in case she needed an escape. It was her safety net. "You weren't kidding about the pay," Kate muttered to herself as she stepped from her car, greeted by a valet at the entrance of the chalet. She'd heard that dinner for 2 here could easily set you back over $150, and she was about to find out for herself. She took Tom's arm as he offered to escort her inside. Kate couldn't help but notice the 2 women flanking the carved doors, dressed like doormen from a 17th century palace. Their heavy makeup, towering white wigs, and the red bodices with ample cleavage and short, full skirts were hard to miss. "Bonsoir, Madame et Monsieur," the hostess greeted them in a silver taffeta gown reminiscent of the period. "Ducks pour le diner." "2 for dinner," Tom replied. Kate suspected he didn't speak French. While Kate sipped her wine, she remained puzzled by the elaborate ceremony and the fuss over the menu selections. Though she had a corkscrew at home, most of her favorite wines came with screw tops. Tom had chosen a $75 bottle and asked for her opinion. Would I seem too uncouth if I asked for a glass of sherry instead, Tom? She asked. Her question seemed to catch him off guard. No, not at all, Tom replied, relieved that he didn't have to pay for the expensive bottle. He was more interested in impressing her with his knowledge than actually enjoying the wine. As Kate sipped her glass, barely touching it to her lips, she studied the extensive menu. She found the prices outrageous. The cheapest item, poulard poché à l'estragon, a chicken casserole poached with white wine and tarragon, was $37. Have you decided? Tom asked when she closed her menu. He was clearly bewildered by the French descriptions. Yes, I'll have the £1 porterhouse with bayonnaise sauce, fries, and asparagus. Where did you see that? Tom asked, frantically scanning his menu for something familiar. I didn't, Kate giggled. Not altogether like that. She explained the various items on the menu, translating as she went. You can read French, Kate? Tom asked, wide-eyed with surprise. Oui, je parle un peu, Kate smiled, amused by his reaction to her limited French. How would you like it cooked? Tom asked, preparing to place the order. Rare, still moving, Kate giggled. Me too, Tom said with a grin. I like you, Kate. She wondered how to respond and if she was being irrational for going on a date with a guy, her first ever. A small smile seemed appropriate as she nodded and took another sip from her glass. Bonsoir, mademoiselle. Nous desirons. Before Tom could finish ordering, Kate took charge. As the young waitress in a French-made uniform curtsied and inquired if they were ready to order, Kate made their selections and added a bottle of Alsatian wine. Tom raised an eyebrow, recognizing it as a special from a wine club he'd recently joined. She's cute, Kate remarked, noticing Tom's gaze following the waitress. Very. Tom started, then caught himself. He was so impressed with Kate that he was now focused on her, rather than his initial physical attraction. What's on your mind, Tom? She asked, sensing his intense scrutiny. You're different from any girl I've ever met, he said after a pause. Perhaps, Kate replied enigmatically. Asterisk if you knew how truly different, you might not be so enchanted, asterisk, she thought. What are your hobbies? Kate asked as their appetizers arrived. What are these? Tom stared at the plate. Escargots, Kate said. Snails, right? She placed one on his fork and encouraged him to try it. She knew he needed a push. Yes, that's right. Tom's initial horror faded as he tasted the escargots with garlic butter. By the time he swallowed, he was grinning from ear to ear. How do I say that was good, Car? He asked. Say bon. It's good, she replied. She sampled one herself and added, mais non, c'est pas bon, c'est magnifique. Let me guess. It's magnificent. You got it, Kate said, and they both laughed, feeding each other. I almost ordered la anguille fumée, but I was afraid you'd puke if you found out. Let me guess. Fumée sounds like fumes. Ah, smoked. Bon, she confirmed. La is the anguille, Tom repeated several times, each pronunciation different. Yes, you're right, she said with a smile. I might have dared, he said with a questioning smile. I might have, she teased. Got it figured? Maybe. Ew. Give the man a cigar, she said with a grin. I'm full. I'll ask for a doggy bag, Tom said, leaning back. Thanks, Kate, he added. 4. Ordering the Chateaubriand the way we both like it, rare. They both laughed. I've had enough to drink, though. I need to drive home, Kate said. So do I. How about coffee at my place? Tom asked. Kate weighed her options. If asked to go to a man's apartment a week ago, she'd have reacted differently. Intimacy wasn't her concern right now, nor was the risk of revealing her secret. Her chastity belt was well designed and secure. Your place is fine, but I'll skip the coffee. I hate it. Tea will do nicely. Kate, I need to confess something, Tom said as they arrived at his home. Don't worry, Car. No intimacy. How? Kate gasped as he chuckled. Unless you want it. I'm not one to rush things. Your company tonight was more than enough. Understanding that accepting Tom's invitation meant risking revealing at least one of her secrets, Kate still moved to embrace him. She couldn't remember the last time anyone had hugged her with such warmth. Pulling her close, he smiled and lowered his lips to hers. The waves of sensation that swept through Kate's body eclipsed her thoughts. How could she be kissing a man and actually enjoying it? Men had never been a consideration for Kate, but the reality was undeniable. You're wearing a corset, he remarked, his fingers gliding down her back. What's this? Kate felt him tug at the junction of the belt's hip band and back strap. Guess, she replied with a coy smile, making no move to halt his exploration. My God! You're wearing a chastity belt, he exclaimed, discovering the locking mechanism that secured the front shield. Yes, Kate replied, kissing Tom once more before slipping out of his embrace. If you'll excuse me for a moment, I'd like to powder my nose.